And welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another edition of ESL Open Cup Asia, number 159. Oh my god, it's been so many. Welcome, everyone, to your lovely dose of weekly South Korean StarCraft. And not just South Korean StarCraft, we were able to debut this last week, but we have some new maps and we have the new balance mod.
Hello?
And of course, at my VIP is not alone. I'm joined by Chase. Hello, Chase. Hello.
Hello. I'm just buying time till I find your caster cover. Okay, we're ready. Spawning in the bottom right position. It is the orange Terran player from South Korea representing Prep Esports as the one, the only. It is HonMonO.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Elixir. It is Chance.
Right?
Yes?
This map's called Dragon Scales, yet I see no dragons nor scales. What is going on?
Well, there are. Hold on, I need to find them. I need to. There's bones somewhere.
Bones? Bones are still not scales. I guess they are dragons.
There are dead dragons somewhere around here. But I
guess
agree.
The edge on the left there you're looking at looks a bit scaly. We were before.
Yeah.
No, not that, but that also does look a little scaly. Down there you go, like just above that base. No, to the left. Oh my god, panic! I'm not gonna ping because there's other casters here. So. Anyway, we're here. The probe is inside. HonMonO, he's been popping up a little bit more recently, hasn't he? Both in the news and as a player.
Yeah, he has been pretty consistent with his play, and it's cool to see him week after week in these ESL Open Cup Asias, going up against some of the more well-known players. And I think what I'm excited about this series is that I feel like both of these players are up-and-comers. You know, they're kind of trying to break into the pro scene in Korea, both Chance and HonMonO respectively.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those series where you're going into it where you don't have a one favorite. I feel like both players are kind of, as you said, they're both up and comers. They've both been mainstays in the region for a reasonable amount of time now. You know, both said they are up and comers, but they have been. You know, you need to play well enough to become an up and comer, and you need to play a lot of games. So, I wouldn't favor one player or the other, but a cool little, impact coming to this game is this is a new map, and players. They're going to have to approach the game a little bit differently as they come onto these maps.
Exactly. You know, they have to get used to their vetoes, they have to get used to certain play styles as well. For the past couple of weeks now, we have been incorporating the new map pool in ESL Open Cup Asia, just so everyone can get used to them coming into Katowice. You know, everyone can get some practice on these maps, especially in a tournament setting. So it's really cool that ESL are enforcing this. The other added thing as well is that this is on the balance test mod as well, so the changes are applied here to the races.
Yeah, I feel like this balance test mod's been in the works for about like 3 months now. I hear rumors that it's going to be dropped just before Katowice, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have kind of a bit of a refresher when we come to the series, as we see Saga open up from Chance. So we're going to do the depth scouting, see the reactor pop over onto the factory. But yeah, do you think there's going to be much change due to, of course, the maps is going to shake things up a bit, but along with the balance patch, do you think we're going to see any sort of meta shifts or anything that's, out of the ordinary in the past kind of 8 months of this patch?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, so far from what I've seen, I haven't seen any late game TVs yet. And I feel like that's one of the matchups that's going to be impacted the most because of the change to the Ghost, to the Lurker, to the Ultra, to the Broodlord, right? I feel like that's like a pretty impacted matchup, but I just haven't seen that yet. Usually the games are ending a lot faster. Smurge, Poppy, Smurge. But the other thing that I guess to take note of is mech, specifically Cyclones. I have seen Cyclones like actually become more impactful, especially against like Muta responses against mech, for example, or like earlier Roach aggression.
Yeah, Cyclones are an interesting unit because they have a kind of a niche role. in TvT and TDP,
Mhm.
and then you have to kind of go all in with them against you know, you can't have just a couple of surface, you have to really commit to the battle mech. So
Mm.
it will be curious. As this Hellion Scout, these Phoenix have been kind of banged at home by chance. With just now going across the map, there's a missile type coming, but man, the Phoenix are fast. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the players kind of adapt. Of course, there'll be a small transition period, but this is a little bit scary right now.
Yeah, definitely the Phoenixes, they come on in, they have been unscattered this entire time. We do have Marines as a response, but Stim isn't done yet. There are no turrets in the natural either. There's one, but towards the north, more of like a DT turret sort of thing. So 4 SCVs are going to be going down, and HonMonO is going to be stuck at home for a little bit.
Certainly will, as these Hellions going across the map, going to try and get some counter damage, at least take the time up with the Phoenix. But it looks like Chance is not taking the bait, or maybe he is. No, he's going back. No, he's not taking the bait. He is, however, preparing back at home. But yeah, no turret in the main yet, however.
Oh, yeah. HonMonO is being quite greedy here. As you pointed out, there is a Widow Mine, but oh my god, this is a massive pick off. A tank is going to get lifted. Oh.
Yeah, well, indeed, the tank does survive, but not for long. And even though the mineral line, the bluff did kind of work out there, he does lose the tank, which is not good. And these Hellions being forced home, which is also very good if you're Chance in this situation.
Yeah, Chance has had a lot of map control behind this. He went into a fast robotics base, so we can see he's going for Phoenix Colossi, which of course is Terran's favorite composition to play against. And typically when you're playing Phoenix Colossi, you're most vulnerable kind of when you're transitioning before your Colossus count gets up to the 2, gets up to the 3. So HonMonO, he's going to have a bit of a timing here, a bit of a window to deal some damage.
Certainly will. These Phoenix going to try and buy time. SCV's being pulled as well. There will be one Colossus out. Not sure if Thermalance will finish in time, as Chance scouts his force with his Observer, but his Hellions already rocking up, scouting. The army will lose 3 of them, which could be very helpful in this push coming up as they do splash damage. But there is some pretty well positioned shield batteries here for Chance, so it's going to be interesting. And he's taking a good forward position with force fields here too.
Yeah, there we go. The force fields are thrown down. The Marines are having a hard time pushing up this choke point. The first Colossi is out as well, and HonMonO is stopped in his tracks. He's going to try and force himself up this ramp, but again, time is being bought here for Chance, and that's crucial right now to get into more disruptors, into more Colossi.
Certainly will, as another Colossi should be coming out soon. Oh, a Disruptor instead is going to be the choice here by Chance. Bit of an odd one considering there are tanks out, but there is only 2 tanks. Units rallying across the 3rd tank as well. This is a pretty decent position here from HonMonO, but keep in mind he's not really threatening any economy here, so he's going to have to come down this ramp eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, as he's going to be throwing down some NG base to try and provide a little bit of service area, a little bit of buffer for his own tanks. Here we go. The first Disruptor is moving on forward. The tanks are on siege.
Oh, bit of an even... Yeah, Disruptor for 2 tanks. 1 tank, does repair it, as HonMonO does push in now. That engineering bay getting the shield battery is now in range. I feel like this is a good fight here for Chance with the Colossus light.
Yeah, exactly. The shield battery is keeping the Colossi alive. We do see 2 tanks though, and they're dishing out so much DPS on that Protoss army. Chance lost a lot. He's down to only a handful of units remaining. He needs another warp in here. Meanwhile, HonMonO, he's still not pulling the trigger. He's still not even trying to threaten the natural base here. He's still slow pushing.
Yeah, and it seems just with the 1 Colossus, even he's up against 3 tanks, and as long as HonMonO keeps his tank count relatively kind of safe, he's got another engineering bay. This push is going to be stronger and stronger. 4th tank now joining the fray, charging another Colossus on the way, but it might just be a matter of numbers here. But there is now 2 Colossus, and now this is a bit of an intricate position HonMonO's found himself in.
Yeah, exactly. He has to be very careful not to be attacked and sandwiched by 2 angles. Committing into either one of these fights is going to be a little bit difficult here, as we have a 3rd Colossi on the way. Marines are pushing on forward, and they're going to be able to pick off a couple of pylons, maybe even depower one of these gateways. There we go. The tanks are slowly creeping up at the natural.
Yeah, and this is kind of the entry point that HonMonO is looking for. The shield battery is disabled, no pylon coming. So if he does want to commit, I'd commit up into the main here. Up into the natural. Chance's army is split off. Another Colossus joining the fray, but at this point it's looking really scary. And Chance eventually is going to hit from 2 sides with charge, but is he going to have enough without the shield batteries to supplement his army?
Yeah, and even with the charge, look at all the SimCity, look at all these NG bays as well. I love the way that HonMonO is utilizing this. He's going to be losing his forward NG bay though already to those Colossi, and here we go. Chance, sorry, he's pulling the trigger.
Yeah, Trigger's a Canadian player. As these tanks are standing firm, the Zealot buffer now goes out. These Marines going to be pushed back a bit. The shield battery on the right is popped, but it looks like, oh, this is really close engagement. The 2 tanks are standing firm. The Immortal falls, and maybe just barely. Chance is going to be able to clean this up.
Oh my god, but the Colossi falls in the end. The Zealots get cleaned up as well, and it looks like Chance does barely hold. There isn't enough to keep on pushing, and HonMonO has been making SCVs, and he's just gonna pull some more boys. He's just gonna reinforce, and he's just gonna try again.
Yeah, well, it kind of makes sense. We'll need to be a bit careful. The two tanks are very scary here. Chance possibly not just watching, but yeah, you know, the hold happening, though both armies are reset, Chance has the better economy, and we see here now transition into Zealot Charge Loss. Quite a good idea, I'd say. All he needs to do is really overwhelm this push, but those SCVs do add some well-needed buffer here, as he's going to try and catch this tank, and he does. He's going to get the second, or he's going to back up the Colossus. He's going to dive on it like he's diving.
Oh, he's diving, but he's getting punished for it. The Marines are trying to dive on top of the Colossi, and it looks like they will not get the... Oh, it's going to be so close. It barely survives.
Could you remind me of the shield battery change? Like over, I realize now that fight I said that looks good for Chance, but this patch has the over battery nerf, right?
Yes, exactly. It is 50% less recharge rate, I should say, from that shield battery. So sorry, specifically from overcharge. Yeah,
okay. So I am right, Light, even though I said Chance is gonna win the fight and he didn't. Okay, that's gonna adjust to the patch, but yeah, Bunk coming down now. This army of SCVs and Marines very light, and looks like now a High Templar Den. Sorry, Templar Archives is finished. Possibly some Archon soak up some splash, do some splash on the Marines. And I'm really starting to like Chance's position here now as a fourth base goes down.
So yeah, I mean, he's so brave and so fearless to go for that fourth base, by the way. Maybe a little bit unnecessary, but he's starting to mine out in the main and the natural, so I guess he wants to keep his mining efficient. Meanwhile, finally, we have a second Robo finishing up so we can get into double disruptor production. Here we go once again. He's diving on top of these tanks, and there's only a single tank, and now 0 tanks remaining.
And GG is called, and Chance is going to be our first winner of this series and take the very first game against HonMonO.
Oh, GG, well played. That was pretty intense. That was a long 2-base all-in.
You know what that reminds me of, Light? I don't know if you've had this experience in ladder, but like you're playing someone they're like lower MMR than you, but they just have so many units, and you're like trying to struggle to get your fourth base, you know, to stay on par economically, and then they GG and leave, and you realize they're on 2 base the whole time. It was a very prolonged kind of push there, and a lot of units. And Chance just, I don't know if he just, you know, if he misread, and well, I guess you can't misread when there's SCVs involved. He just, played solidly enough that his economy was, more than fine in those holds.
Oh yeah, it was more than fine. It was beaming, it was beautiful, it was amazing. And now we're going to be getting into game number 2. Oh boy. Again, what I will say is that, you know, HonMonO, he's the one that kind of put himself in that situation, you know, going for the 2-base all-in, and the execution wasn't too bad, but maybe there were a couple of times where he overextended a little bit too much, lost a couple too many Marines, lost a couple too many tanks, especially that, I mean, it was such a shame that early on his tank count was getting shaved off when you're going for a 2-base all-in. If you recall, the first tank went down to those Phoenixes at the start of the game.
Yeah, well, it's all about the kind of like the staying power of your units, like the Siege Chase and the Liberators, when you cut economy to go for pushes like so. Speaking of pushes, I'm going to push the button to follow your camera to say spawning in the top left position, playing for Prep Esports. It is the Orange Protoss, not Orange Terran from South Korea. It is HonMonO.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Elixir. And currently up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series, it is Chance.
Fun fact, Light. Elixirs are a brand of guitar strings.
Oh. Did you sell any this week?
Surprisingly, yes. I am a salesman. But yeah, Light. This map, what is it called? How do you tell?
It's Babylon. It's on the left. It's above the mini map.
Oh my god, back in time.
Yeah.
Of the mini map.
Oh, we're going full Rome Total War. Let's go.
No, Light. This is the Greek era. This is early antiquity.
Oh, okay.
I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah, well,
I'm leaving the cast.
This is your avenue, Sash, to talk about Rome Total War.
Surprisingly, it's been your avenue. I'm restrained. I'm a good boy.
Oh, okay.
Because if I start, I will not stop. Those damn barbarians.
Smurge, Papi, smurge. Oh my god.
That's a story for another time, another week, 3 weeks. Yeah, Light Babylon. Interesting map, lots of rocks, and a theme we've kind of been seeing. I do like the kind, even though I hate playing versus rocks as as a Zerg player, I do like the implementation. It rewards players for being active on the map, opening up these kind of pathways, and it kind of also gives a bit of positional play to other races, like lurkers or Terran especially. They can siege up behind it. In this case, however, looking at the third base, oh yeah, I guess you can siege the triangle third kind of well. Yes, interesting map.
Yeah, there's a little bit of high ground that you can make use of. Maybe you can siege behind the rocks. Is I guess a little bit. It is a bit far away. But yeah, Babylon is one of the more exotic looking maps as well. It's a very interesting color palette. My eyes still need to get adjusted to it because I feel like I'm just getting like bombarded by everything. There's like red, there's green, there's yellow. Yeah, it's interesting to look at.
I'd love to Babylon light, but we've got a small skirmish on the map. Yeah, it is a very interesting color palette. It's a dead runaway. Does get this together with the what's Majiggy? The shade. But yeah, it looks like pretty standard in-base command center here. However, for HonMonO, could be a bit of mind games. Oh, does catch the adept of these Marines, which is pretty huge to be honest. I have to force the stalk around on that too. But yeah, when you see that many Marines and you don't see a base, you just get in proximity to seeing that natural base. You could think maybe one base shenanigans, which isn't too common.
Yeah, and what I will say is that that's quite common when it comes to HonMonO. He's one of the cheesiest Terran players in South Korea, so I do appreciate that he's kind of working with his reputation a little bit. Chance, I'm sure, is very familiar with how HonMonO plays, so in the back of his mind, he may be a little bit concerned, but looking at his vision, he did already confirm the CC in the high ground, so he knows that there's a natural base. He knows that there's no weird, two-base all incoming. Oh, sorry.
What is that? Urubu, is that a bird? Sorry. Oh no, it's gone. Just looking at the native wildlife here. But yeah, Oracle going to come on in. He is aware there's quite a few Marines on the field, and actually that might be the downfall of HonMonO, thinking he's safe against the Oracle, but they're not in the main base right now.
Yeah, exactly. HonMonO had zero scouting information whatsoever, and he gets baited in, kind of. A lot of friendly fire on those SCVs, but he does get the Oracle. Aye.
That's pretty chat. I love. I did forget the Widow Mine. It's two Widow Mines there, actually. Yeah, there's nothing worse than kind of flying your mutas or your Oracle around and you get a shot in the face. But yeah, actually, we have a gateway on the map, actually. I've said actually 3 times in the past 10 seconds, but actually, it is going to be a Hellions just scouting out. And Stalker Phoenix versus Marine. Is that just a 3-rax attack coming up?
Yeah, HonMonO is going for 3 racks. Meanwhile, Chance is ramming up that aggression, mate, because he has 3 gates at home. He has a 4th gate across the map, so he's going 4 gate blink stalkers. You can be hyper aggressive with this. If you have high ground vision, you can try and blink into the main. I believe you can from the triangular third here. And he's going to have that Phoenix to provide that vision.
Certainly will, as we see Phoenix there, a very good kind of unit. Very swift, very adept, can kind of move around, get scouting, pick off workers or so forth. But they are not the greatest unit kind of in a head-on skirmish against Widowmine Marine Siege tank. They can lift up tanks, which surprisingly could leave some little bit of friendly fire from the Widowmines on the army of the Terran. But this is looking like a pretty strong kind of attack build up here. But HonMonO Chance doing the right thing on the front foot to delay this push, and we'll get wind of it straight away.
Yeah, exactly, as the Phoenix is going to dive in, but no, the Widowmines are going to be able to take the Phoenix down, but we blink up into the main base just before the Phoenix goes down, and now Chance, what can he find here? Oh, he's going to be able to deny combat shields.
He will indeed, gets combat shields. Oh, a bit of an aggressive blink in here, going to move around in the base. I would have liked to see him recall, but he's going to lose all these stalkers. Looks like he's going to snipe some Marines, even maybe catch a tank. No, he's going to say, I am out of here, but unfortunately every unit does get taken out. But what do you think of that push? It does slow down with the combat shields, but losing a lot of kind of army on the front.
Yeah, looking at the units lost tab, that was 8 stalkers going down there to deny combat shields and to get half a tank. I don't think that was really worth it, and now we can see Chance struggling here to really slow down this push. Once again, HonMonO, he is pulling some of the boys. Not as many as last game, but he's going for a very committed push.
He is indeed, and keep in mind, HonMonO does have Stim. There is a good number of Stalkers here, actually. I'm not sure if there's going to be enough to kind of force a siege here, but he is peeling off those SCVs, making it a little bit harder for HonMonO to kind of control. Keep in mind, +1 is finished for HonMonO. There is a shield battery. These tanks are going to siege up. Charge is almost finished, however, and there is also a Robo, but unfortunately, the Bay is not yet finished, halfway done.
Oh yeah, still halfway done. Meanwhile, here we go. Another Bay being thrown down. Oh, that was a kill, not a cancel. Meanwhile, how good is the target firing? Once again, the tank barely does survive, and HonMonO is going to be able to get on top of that repair.
He will indeed. There's a Mortal a little bit isolated. He needs to be careful. Thank the Lord for that shield battery. Not the shield battery, the Immortal Immortal shields. Can't talk. Gonna get this engineering bay. Huge has played the game so far, but this is now a lot of pressure. And keep in mind, HonMonO, Chance has kind of traded off units. Is he gonna get a tank? No, yes, he is barely. I was gonna say Chance has traded off units, and HonMonO has got a siege tank. Count pretty healthy, but does lose. Is that 3 tanks going down low?
Yeah, 3 tanks have gone down. He's got 1 remaining here. He's going to try and force himself up this ramp. We do have an overcharge, but this time there's no splash damage, just pure Immortals and Stalkers. The third base is completely cut off here, and HonMonO, he's pushing on through. He's trying to out DPS that overcharge. It's a little bit ambitious, but he's going for it anyway. Up.
Well, yeah. Oh, that 1 tank going to take out those 2 Immortals together. They were low health, but I feel like, the tank count has been reset, and HonMonO, he needs to capitalize and push in now because the economy is better for Chance, but unfortunately, there's not enough firepower. He's only got 1 tank left.
Yeah, exactly. He's just stimmed himself to death, and the last tank is gonna go down. HonMonO almost broke through. He almost had enough, but again, there was no real longevity with his army. He lost too many tanks too early on, and Chance, he holds.
Chance does hold, and this Disruptor's just like, alright guys, where's the Marines? Let's go, I'm ready. But yeah, when it's 40 supply to 78 supply, this Disruptor can afford to be late in this circumstance. But yeah, what's the game plan here? It looks like a 3rd commencer being thrown down by HonMonO. You would see some Terran players just kind of like stick with it and just keep churning out units and try and just stay on 2 base, but in this case, you need some Marauders and Medevacs that are going to get that done. The Siege Tank Marine push does not have the kind of longevity once you lose that initial firepower of the tanks. But yeah, it looks like HonMonO is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it looks like Chance is going to do some Zealot run buys, which can be more of a pain when he moves out.
Yeah, I mean, this is just really ambitious from HonMonO to try and macro from this position and go for a 3rd CC. As you were kind of pointing out, you're out of one of 2 minds, right? You either try and macro from here, or you just go for a second 2-base all-in, essentially. And neither one is a really good option. Regardless, HonMonO is in a bit of a rough position. We'll see if he can somehow survive, if he can somehow force some mistakes out of Chance, maybe straying a little bit too far forward with your Colossi, with your Disruptors. There is a chance that HonMonO has this.
Most certainly, and I guess in this kind of particular situation, when you're churning out siege tanks already, Medevacs are joining the fray. Being a bit more of a turtley player is the way to go, because siege tanks, after you've been reset, are not great at being attacking, especially in charge lots. But again, as you said, not a great situation all around. As Chance, he's got a 3rd base full of economy. Oh, I'm just going to dance at the 3rd there. But yeah, he's even got this forward gateway, so he can attack in the natural and drop the War Prison in the main. During the move out, he's got plenty of units kind of presence on the map, so I do not see how HonMonO can kind of get back into this. But the supply is starting to get a little bit closer. Maybe SCV pull. We'll have to see.
We'll see. We do have a double jump headed towards the south, but he gets spotted by hallucination, so Chance is going to be looking to dive on top of this. Bearing in mind as well that we do have a Prism waiting outside the main base of HonMonO, so whenever he does move out, Chance can move in. And I love that Chance is even getting a Dark Shrine. In this kind of position, HonMonO, he's going to be wanting to mule as often as possible.
100%. People say when behind Dark Shrine, but when ahead, Dark Shrine is even better. So
anytime, yeah. Dark Shrine, Poppy, let's go.
There's going to be a hard timing here. 3rd base is seen, but no. The War Prison comes in the main as he's forced to consolidate at the 3rd to keep it alive. But no, GG is called, and that looks like it's going to be a 2-way victory for Chance.
There we go. GG. Well played. Chance takes the series 2-0. Pretty intense series. HonMonO going for a lot of 2-base tank pushes. Different variations in game 1 and game 2. But Chance, his defense, his D was just a little bit too strong, even with the nerfed shield battery and the nerfed overcharge.
100%. which means we got to nerf them more. Yeah, no, it was just a pretty strong showing by Chance. Do have to say, yeah, he's a very solid player. He's taken some games off some really good players as well, but was one of those closer games, I'd say, in the bracket. So we got a bit lucky with that first series pick. Well done, Light. I don't know if you worked your Duckling magic, but it was a pretty fun series to cast.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It doesn't live up to the last first series that we casted. I don't know if you remember, it was Hero versus Rise.
Oh yeah, that was the best.
So we peaked a little bit early in the year, but hopefully Rise can play in another ESL Open Cup at some point this year, and we'll be sure to be there. But congratulations to Chance, really good results here, and he's gonna need a lot of confidence and a lot of preparation coming into his second series, because he has a Protoss waiting for him in the next round.
Yeah, and just going back to that Rise vs Hero game, a lot of people kind of, I think, oh, I've got Dark first round, or I've got Hero or Gumiho, but like, you've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Like, Rise can now say I was the first person to beat Hero in 2023, and he almost 2-0'd him too. So
he did, mate. It was
a mindset thing. That was so sick, like.
Yeah, he was so close to 2-0ing, mate. Oh my god, feels bad, man, but feels good as well. A great way to start the year for Rise. And maybe Chance needs to slip into those DMs. Maybe he needs some Rise coaching, because now Chance, it's his turn to go up against Hero.